if Hayward worked for him. The question is, can President Obama really do anything at all? Let's ask Richard Socarides, Democratic strategist and attorney at Brady, Klein and Weissman, and Ben Ferguson, syndicated host at Icon Radio Network. Ben Ferguson, kicking some butt, firing Hayward. This is like the great cover-up. What's your take on this? When you first heard this, what was your thought?
You know, I laugh because it's like the president thinks it's like WWE wrestling or something. You know, it's day 50, and as funny as his comments are, the sad and pathetic part is he has not one time, not once, talked to the CEO of BP Oil. That tells you the total lack of leadership on this issue. This is a man that I want to succeed on this issue. I usually disagree with the president. I want him to win and succeed on cleaning up the oil. Why is he trusting BP Oil to do it? And still, after talking such a big game, why didn't he actually use the Oval Office and his presidency and the power that comes with it to call him and go, you better get this right?
What happened? Did they just completely misread this situation, Ben? Did they think that this was going to be contained? Perhaps they were listening too heavily to BP earlier when it first happened. I wonder why they didn't put some kind of panel together of experts that could have told them, here's your worst case scenario.
You know, you look at this president and you look at all the czars he's appointed and everybody else. He delegates, he delegates. This is where he lacks leadership, and this is one of the biggest criticisms I have of him. With Wall Street and with everything else he's done, he lets other people call the shots. He looked at BP and said, hey, I know you guys, you've done well for me, you've given me a lot of money, I'm going to trust you to do this. If he's going to fight...
Oh, my God, I couldn't disagree more.
Well, he just said today that he would fire the CEO of BP Oil,
Richard,
but
why
yet
do you disagree so much? Why do you disagree?
I mean, I think the one problem the president had early on is that they were a little bit slow out of the gate on communicating what they were doing. But I think it's been clear that from day one, they've been doing everything on the ground practically that could be done. And what he needs to do now is seize this historic opportunity here to change the direction of this country in terms of energy policy. We are at an important moment now where we can change the course we take in terms of energy policy and end our dependence on oil and go to alternative sources of energy. This is the important moment that the president has to seize.
No one in Louisiana or Florida or Alabama or anywhere on the coast right now gives a rat's rear end about alternative energy. They want their beaches clean, they want their jobs back, and they want to protect the wildlife, and you're going to sit here and push for wind turbines? Are you kidding me?
Listen, the point is that everything that can be done from a practical perspective on the ground is being done. They've got the best people on this. They've turned the whole government around to focus on this.
I want to ask you one question.
Yeah, but what's his power?
Let me ask you one question.
Let me ask you this. What sort of power does he have? I mean, haven't we learned in this crisis that the government is inept, that the government is incompetent, that the government lacks the management skills and undoubtedly the technological skill set too?
No,
I mean,
no,
Richard,
not at all.
Richard,
not at all.
I think you that. I mean, to me, the lesson I learn is our government sits there. We pay a bloody fortune for it. They're jacking up our taxes to finance it. And what does it do? What does this government do for me?
I think we've only learned one thing, and that is that a decade-long reluctance to exercise any oversight or any regulation in this industry has created this disaster. Clearly, the government was not prepared.
I don't know. It seems to me that
in terms of marshaling the responses of the government has been pretty terrific.
Are you blaming Bush for this? That is so bad. That is just so much.
I'm blaming a decade-long.
Oh, stop!
Let me say this: that you look at the governors on the coast right now, and they are the ones that want to clean this up and be in charge of it. The debacle here is the President of the United States of America not allowing people to call the shots in local municipalities because he doesn't like those people. He doesn't like the governor of Mississippi and Louisiana. And Georgia, let me ask you. I want to ask you one question. I just want to ask you one question today. If the President of the United States of America says he would fire the CEO of BP Oil, why is the President of the United States of America still trusting him to be in charge of the cleanup? That's all I want to know.
He is certainly not in charge of the cleanup.
Yes, he is.
The President is in charge of the cleanup, and Thad Allen is in charge of the cleanup. What the problem with BP right now as a company is they still do not get it, how important a moment this is for them. What they have to do, what BP has to do, is say that they're going to donate 100% of their profits until this is fixed to cleaning this up and making it right.
Richard, at the end of the day, doesn't it come back to the government? It is the U.S. government's responsibility, essentially, to protect us from something like this.
It is the government's responsibility to protect us from this.
So why hasn't he been able to do so? Why hasn't he been more vocal right from the very beginning and really understanding the consequences of this?
Well, the problem we've had is that this industry has not been regulated. There's been no oversight for over a decade. That's number one. Number two is that in terms of fixing it,
you can blame Bush for this. You can blame Bush for the economy. You can blame Bush for everything.
Who do you want to blame? I mean, the Bush administration was in charge of regulating this industry for a decade.
At what point in time does Barack Obama actually become president of the United States of America? If you're going to continue to blame George Bush, what day does he really become president? If you're not going to hold him accountable for this.
I'm not trying to make
really, what point? I'm just curious. Is it 2011? 2012?
You know, we all share responsibility for this because it is our government and it is the people we put in power. If the Democrats
didn't have Bush, they'd have to invent him. I just want to know, when BP goes bankrupt, is President Obama going to actually bail him out? Is it too big?